Hey guys, it's Jenny Wolek with the Wolek Group, Keller Williams Realty Advantage in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I am super excited to introduce my friend Jen Davis from Greater Springfield, Missouri, to chat with us today. I am certain that you have seen her before because she is a rock star, and I'm super excited for her to share all of her agent success secrets here with you today. So welcome, Jen.
Thank you. I'm so excited. Thanks for having me.
Me too. You are just so amazing and awesome and have such a cool success story to share. Let's just start with, I'll let you kind of fill everyone in on, what your production looks like, how long you've been in business, what your goals are for this year. Let's first start with, you're on the Dan Holt team. And so why don't you go into your role and how this all came to be that you got into real estate?
So I joined Dan's team 6 years ago. I joined, well, almost, it will be 6 years this year. I was with another brokerage before, and when Dan encouraged me to join or was recruiting me, my biggest year prior to coming to Keller Williams, just to kind of put things in perspective, I closed 16 units, my biggest year at the previous brokerage.
Right.
And when Dan hired me, he had this huge vision, and I don't, Dan, and he thinks big, and he is very charismatic, very fun to be around, and he was very pitched a great vision. And the first year he was wanting me to close 50 transactions, and I was like, okay, I'm not exactly sure how we're going to do it, but we'll figure it out. And so that first year I closed 49 transactions, and it was myself and Dan and another agent on the team and a transaction coordinator. And then that next year we were trying to kind of figure out what the next piece of leverage was. Where do we go from here? How do we increase the business without killing ourselves? What does this look like? And so that year, my goal was to close 65 transactions, and I ended up at 72. So somewhere in there, things got messy, very chaotic. We were very focused on, really trying for Dan to be in his 20% and for me to be in mine. However, with that number of transactions, we really were very slow to hire, and probably too slow.
Mm-hmm.
So that year, that coming year, we decided that we were going to add somebody to help on the lead generation side. And we added Emily Baker, who's still with the team and is our director of lead gen. And by that point, Nicole Bauer was on the team. She's still with us. And then I hired a MAPS coach. And that year was like the big year. It was, okay, my goal was to close 90 transactions.
At this time, were you only a buyer agent?
Yes, I'm still only a buyer agent.
Right. So we haven't made that very clear for everyone. This was your goal, I'm pointing it out because of the amazingness. So this was your goal personally of 50 or 6, that you did 50 or 49, and then your goal was 65 and you did 72 as a buyer agent.
As a buyer's agent. So I have always been pretty traditionally very close to 50% of our production. So what I'm doing on the buy side, they're also doing on the listing side.
Right. Okay. There you go.
So that we were like, okay, let's do this. Dan's doing the listing thing and I'm doing the buy side deal. And my goal was 90 transactions and I closed 110. And it was easier then than it was doing the 50 or doing the 72 because we were really starting to figure out leverage. We had all these great, Dan is really great on the listing side. His business was driving my business. And then you add Nicole, who was the detail person, and you add Emily, who's the driver of the business. And all of a sudden, the peaks and valleys of our business go away. And it was really, really a fine-tuned effort of, okay, not only am I in my top 20%, now I'm really in my top 15%. I'm really doing buyer consults, showing property, negotiating contracts, and Emily is keeping that pipeline filled.
Yeah.
So then we were like, okay, something's got to give. I cannot at this point do anymore. We've leveraged everything off that I possibly can. And at that time, showings kind of were getting in the way of the negotiations of contracts. And what would happen is I would be stuck in showings and not be able to successfully negotiate contracts, or people didn't feel the love, and it was hard. And, that's when you know that you've hit a ceiling, is you start getting pushback. So what we did is we decided that we were going to add the showing agent model. And so it took a long time. I mean, the year that I did 110, I tried a showing agent for a little bit. I didn't have good parameters set up or expectations. I didn't know what I wanted. And so we spent really 6 months of my coach helping, Dan's Maps coach helping, a lot of tears, all of the things, trying to figure out how we were going to introduce this model that there wasn't really a whole lot of information about. I mean, it had been introduced at a mega agent at one point, and then you didn't hear a whole lot about it again. And so trying to figure out what worked for us in our market.
Right. And Jen, I'm just going to say this because I'll be very transparent here. I have been in business for a long time. And last year, our team of 2 agents.
I love agents on your team.
Well, now 3, but back then 2 of us, and we barely broke 100. So I'm just going to say, like, for all the other agents out there that are single agents or buyer agents on teams, 110 is a lot. What was the quality of life for you at that time?
Honestly, it was better. It was better at the 110 than it was at the 72. And it's because the rest of it came off. The detail work, which is not my strong suit, came off.
Right.
Job stress went away. I was doing all of the things that I love. And, Emily was a very instrumental part in that, in me to say no. She was the first person that got control of my calendar and would get me set up on a schedule. I was showing 2 nights a week. I was only showing 1 day of the weekend. So quality of life got better that year than it had been the previous 2.
So time blocking was key.
Oh my heavens, yes. I had to send my calendar to my Maps coach the beginning of every week. Yes. The time blocking, he taught me how to do it, and Emily was kind of the enforcer.
Yeah. Well, so you have got this system, you start realizing there's beauty in leverage, because I would bet, like you already mentioned this, the love for clients was kind of falling off. And that's the most important thing at the end of the day.
Well, and I love my clients. And that was the thing. It was like, something's got to give, or we're going to start burning through people. And that's not how we want to run a business. Dan and I have talked frequently of, we want to come at this with a servant's heart. We love people, and we're here in a service industry, and our job and our responsibility is to provide great customer service. And that was when, I think people don't want to leverage that piece of it. They don't want to leverage the customer part of it because they feel like no one can do it better. However, at a certain level, I wasn't doing it well. And so that was then, here's the trigger for the next piece of leverage.
So map out for me, now you're working at a high level with a showing assistant, and your admin team is really being the concierge to your clients. I mean, how many times are you touching base through the transaction nowadays?
Well, it's interesting because over the last couple of years, things have changed a little bit. The first year of the showing agent, I added 2. We closed 182 units. Last year, I had the same 2 showing agents. We closed 223. And at the beginning of this year, your buyer's agent, Nate, and I talked about it. At the beginning of this year, I had leveraged all of the good stuff, and I had all of the hard conversations. Yeah. And that didn't work either. So we've tweaked it a little bit. And I think that's the thing with leverage, is you try it and then you adjust, and you have to figure out what works for your team, what works for you, what works for your clients. So now, my pitches are, I'm back in buyer consults. I was out of them for almost a year. I'm back in buyer consults because I missed them. And if I'm going to negotiate the contracts, I've got to have the rapport with my clients from the from that beginning meeting. And so I touch them during the consult. I touch them again at the time of writing up the offer. I touch them again during the inspection period, and then typically right before closing.
So you have checklists and reminders popping up daily telling you to call this client?
I have people telling me to do those.
Okay.
They're making sure that I'm doing, because sometimes I can delete emails that they don't want me to delete. So yeah, we have checks and balances.
Yeah, I was going to say. So let's role play this real quick, Jen. I am a new buyer client that has been referred to you. And what does it sound like on the phone when you first have a conversation with me?
Am I getting you in for the consult, or we're just talking about what you're looking for in a house?
We're going to skip the details of what we're looking for. You're going to get me in and explain how this all works.
Okay. Hey, Jenny, I'm so glad we got to catch up today, and I feel like I've got a really good idea of kind of what you're after. However, I would love if I could get for you to come in our office and meet in person. What I like to do is kind of ahead of the showings is kind of get to know you and make sure that we've got a very clear picture of what you're after, and so that you understand the whole process kind of start to finish. What I find is really takes the nerves and the stress out of it.
Oh, well. Yeah, that sounds good.
So would you rather come in tomorrow at noon, or does tomorrow evening around 5:30 work better for you?
Actually, noon works great on my lunch. Mm-hmm.
So when you have lunch, I'll have you come in and we'll meet. It'll take about 30 minutes. We'll run through it. I'll introduce you to some key people on our team. That way you have a chance to meet them, put some faces with names, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good.
Awesome. I can't wait to meet you in person.
Well, great. All right, now let's fast forward. I'm in the office and you're giving the whole buyer consult, because at some point you got to set me up to know that I'm going to be working with other people now, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jenny, I feel like I've got a really good feel of what you're after. Just kind of like we talked about, this market is moving very, very quickly. Most of the time what we're finding is there are really only about 2 to 3 homes that, if I've asked the correct questions, that they're really only that are going to fit your criteria. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm going to work around your schedule, okay?
Okay.
So when we're doing that, there are occasionally times that your schedule and my schedule won't quite match up. And in the event that happens, I do have a showing agent that helps me out with showings. And her name is Kathleen. She is awesome. You actually will probably like her better than me if in the event that she's the one to show you properties. She is an expert in the field. So when you guys are going, she knows what the market is. She has a really good feel for numbers, how quickly things are going to move. Now, at the same time, just know I'm always going to be your point of contact for any type of contract negotiations, inspections, those types of things. Just on the off chance that my schedule doesn't match up with yours, Kathleen may be the one to show you properties.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. I just want to look at houses.
I know, and that's the whole thing. My job is to get you in, and I would hate for you to miss an opportunity to look at a house because of my schedule.
Oh, okay. Are you saying that I will never see you again?
No, of course you're stuck with me. However, in the event that there are a couple of houses that we think are going to go pretty quickly, you're going to know that too. Yeah. Kathleen will be there to walk you through them.
Okay, that sounds good.
Awesome.
So how much pushback do you get on that?
None. That was more than I get normally. People want to see the houses on their schedule, and they think, oh, well, 2 is better than 1. That's great.
Right. I love it. Do you think other agents, as you've been talking about this topic, sharing the whole showing agent model, that you get a little pushback from agents in their limited thinking?
I do, and I think it comes from the standard model right now for showing agents is that they're door openers or showing assistants. Right. And we've been very careful to not set it up that way. Our showing agents are experts in the field. They do know the market. They can walk a client through really the whole process start to finish. However, we're a team of specialists. So their role in our team is to show property. They are better at it than I am. They are better at it than Dan would be if we asked him to jump in at the
Sorry, that would be hilarious. Sorry, Dan.
It is fun. You'd laugh too. So to do it if no one else will. But It's funny. It's the agents, I think, that have been exposed to it on kind of a medium level. Those that are, I think they're still trying to hold on to it, and they're worried that those showing agents will go and build their own business and leave and do their own thing. And I can't control them. What I can do is provide a really high value proposition for my showing agents so that they'll stay with me. And we've really, we've been very blessed to have good people in our world and in our organization.
Yeah. So let's walk through first off, are you responsible for hiring your own showing agents?
I am. I think that's a really important piece of it. If you're going to be doing the training and you're going to be the one that's holding them accountable, that buy-in has to be with the person that's going to be in charge of them. So for me, I wanted to set those expectations. I wanted to be the one that cast the vision for them. Dan had cast this huge vision for me. And it's truly, if you're really wanting to build a team within a team, that also hiring is also part of it. And I'll tell you, it's interesting when you hire and then you do the training, it's a very quick way to figuring out what your real mastery level is. Because as you're training them and you're teaching them scripts and how you talk and how you do things, what shows up are also your weaknesses. Yeah. Because when they're saying those words in front of you and you can hear them, you're like, oh, they said that because that's what I say. It's just a whole other level of holding yourself accountable and getting better.
So I would assume, making an assumption here, that you follow the career visioning, you take them through the whole process, right?
I did, yes.
Yeah.
And when I hired both of them, I really hired prior to career visioning. It was still off of Recruit Select. Right. However, we went back and did career visioning. Gene Rivers came to Springfield, Missouri and taught the class. And we all went, it was a team event because we all are hiring. We all are trying to build this team within Dan's team. And it is really important to follow the steps.
Yeah, it is. So now you've got the right person. They're a good fit, and you've got them in their first 30, 60, 90 days, and you're walking through that. You've already pointed out that they're an expert in the field. So how are you training them? What does that look like? Are they at your hip every single day?
Yep. So that 30 days, that first 30 days, Kathleen went with me everywhere I went, and every phone conversation I had, we put it on speakerphone, and that way she could hear what the objection was. She could hear how I handled it. And we did the same thing. She trained with Emily in the lead generation office, because that's where our scripts come from. Our scripts come from the objections we get in the field. They come from the objections we get in the phone. And our goal has always been, really one company, one language. And so she did that. That was I think part of the reason that our whole team is so successful, because, we talk about my numbers and closing 223 last year. Our team closed almost 450 units.
Yeah.
We have an amazing team. And part of that is the interchange of information and the cross-training from different roles. Emily has a level of talent that I don't have, that she can pass on to people. And Dan has a knowledge base that I don't have, that he can pass on to people. Nicole, the same thing. And so if they can be in conversation and be in training with all of us, they really get in that whole big picture feel. And so when they are in their specialized role of being in the field, really regardless of what question comes up, they can field it.
Yeah, I love that. And you also get a lot of life back. Jen, if you decide to go on a week vacation to Mexico and lay on the beach, you have such a highly trained person that's like you and you trust.
That's exactly right. She talks the same way that I talk. She shows up the same way that I show up. I would, there's not a buyer at this point that I would not pass. I feel very comfortable in the training. I feel very comfortable in the person. And that's a different deal. That's not a door opener. That is someone that I'm invested in, that's invested in our team. And that's, I think the shift when you start hiring based on how can I help someone and how can I change their life, that's a whole different world versus the initial hire that didn't work, which was, I just need help. I need help and I'm in pain, and I'll hire whoever walks in front of my office.
Right. So let me just ask this question. If you're looking at in your role as buyer agent and you're KPAing and you're bringing in people, you're obviously looking for talent and does that description fit as a buyer agent? I mean, are you looking for that high of level that they are that?
It's interesting because I think on the KPA, I don't test well for a buyer's agent. I test better for an inside sales agent.
Right. Yeah.
Which is fine. I am looking really for someone that gets close, that, that there are markers that I'm looking for. The big thing though was I wanted someone that I wanted to spend more time with. I wanted it to be someone that I got done with the conversation and wasn't quite ready for it to be done. Because that's the thing with an agent. You get buyers agents that appear to be a used car salesman, or they're too pushy, or they're too laid back. There's not a big driver in their life. And it can go extreme to extreme on agents. And so I think for me it was, I am an educated mid-30s person. I'm married, I've got 2 kids, and I'm the average person that they're going to meet. And I want it to be someone that I can build rapport with quickly and that I want to spend more time with.
I love that. You want to be with, and don't we all want to work with people that are like us? And
Yeah.
and if you've generated buyers to work with, they like you for you. So why not have an assistant showing agent that is like you as well? I think that's a brilliant idea.
It is. And she is talented, and she's smart, and she's funny, and she has different talents than I have.
Just like you.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Okay, so I'm going to ask the question that I bet a lot of agents get hung up on, and that would be, why would somebody come be your showing agent when they can be their own buyer agent or their own single agent because of percentages and splits and things?
So far I've hired outside of industry. I have not hired an agent that was already licensed. The reason being, number one, I wanted them to have my habits. I wanted them to have my scripts, and I wanted them to have my mindset. So I didn't want to start with a limiting belief. So when we were hiring, I hired outside of industry, and the pitch was not, here's what your split's going to be, right, or it was, I'm going to take you from this job that you were making, X dollars, and I can double it. And I can double it in the first year. And then after that, it's just, we're going to go up from there. So it really wasn't someone that had any preconceived ideas.
Right. You're just showing them their net at the end of the day and what
they care about.
And being in a world where they get to have fun and hang out with a fun team like you guys, a high producing, high mindset, positive mindset team.
That's right. And we're putting them, whether it's an admin or whether it's a showing agent or a listing specialist, we're putting them where their strengths are. So the job stress isn't there. I'm not asking a high I to input data. I mean, I'm putting them in front of people. And so I do think when you really take the time to get to know people through the career visioning process and all of the steps that go along with it, you have a very good idea of where they're going to fit and where their, strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah. Well, where does you guys, 400 is what you did last year. What's your goal for this year?
It's funny. We ended up just shy of 450, and this year we're really going to shoot for 500.
Okay.
Our goal this year was, we've had a lot of big jumps year after year, and so the goal this year was, let's do it smarter, let's do it easier, let's do it at a higher level. So our focus this year really is more on repeat and referral business. It's on strengthening our systems. It's on giving opportunity to those that are already within our organization. So where do they want to be? What does their 411 look like? How do we get them, where they want to be, instead of killing everybody with numbers?
Well, I appreciate that. And I like the honesty. And you guys have had huge jumps. even just in your short time in your role, you've had huge growth. So currently in the past years, I know you're tweaking now, what has the bulk of your business come from? Is it from database, or where have you guys prospecting for sell by owners, expireds?
Yes. So we typically focus on three things, and it's the three things that we're good at, which is, we do lead with listings. That is our main goal. So a lot of my buyer leads come from the listing side of things. So the leads, though, they go after for sale by owners, expireds, and then we have a big, or in getting bigger, repeat and referral size business. So that's kind of coming up as we've been in business longer together. We've got people that are referring us more clients and now starting to buy and sell again. And so it's exciting to watch it.
So who takes your sign calls off of all the listings that you have? I mean, I can only imagine you have a huge listing inventory right now.
We do. I don't know what that number is because I'm on the buy side, but I'm going to say it's huge. I don't know.
Yeah.
So those calls go into Emily's office in the lead generation department. So I used to take all of those up until Emily got hired, and she was really helping just on the listing side, and I was still taking those until the point that she wanted additional opportunity on the buy side. So her office takes those, and they rotate them through dependent upon days and times and all that good stuff.
So does her department qualify and then set appointments for you?
Yep. So just like the showing agents are not door openers, the ISAs are not just appointment setters. There's so much more than that. They are doing qualifying questions. They know the market very well. They can give advice, and they're all licensed. So, I mean, there's not really a conversation that they can't have.
Jen, I could keep going forever. What?
Jenny, I'm ready. Let's go.
Oh, well, I got to cut it off here soon. However, what is something that I just did not ask you that you get asked all the time that you feel is really important? I know Brittany wanted me to ask you, shout out to Brittany, is now looking back, you probably have done this a lot, being very self-aware. Looking back, what would you change if you could do it all over again to get to where you are faster and more efficient?
If I could do it all over again, gosh, it's hard. No one ever likes my answer to this.
Yeah.
It's part of both. And I think that I had to do it the way that I did it to learn the mistakes that I had to move forward. So, I think the biggest trigger for me, or the biggest game changer, was when it really stopped being about me. And it really was about the people on our team and how we could change things for them. I wouldn't redo anything. I honestly wouldn't. I wouldn't have leveraged showing sooner. I wouldn't have leveraged, the lead part of it sooner, because I think that's what gives me validity with my team and with my peers, is that I was in it for so long and I did so many of the activities. So, I don't know. Maybe I would have time blocked sooner. I would have built a database sooner. Those would have been the changes I made, doing those types of things. But my timeline or my story, I wouldn't have changed.
Because it's all about the journey.
It's all about the journey with Jenny.
You're so funny. You're silly. Hey, let's tell everyone how they can get in touch with you guys so they can send you a referral, and where exactly Springfield, Missouri is, because, you're close to me. Most people may not know where you are.
No, it's shocking to me. It's a huge metropolis. We're in Southwest Missouri. We're in Southwest Missouri. We are right in the middle of the Ozarks. So to get a hold of us, probably the easiest way, if you're on the Kelly app, is either through Dan Holt or myself, Jen Davis. And our team email is thedanholtteam@gmail.com.
And you guys are super amazing, and I appreciate your time so much. I know that I will tag and share your info with everyone. If they have more specific questions, they can get with you, right?
That sounds great. I'd be happy to answer whatever questions I can.
Well, I look forward to seeing you real soon. I appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Tell Nate and Brittany I said hi.
I will. Thank you. If you guys need anything from me, my number is 918-706-9845. Have a great day. Bye.